Hi, everyone. Welcome. This is Julie Boyer, and I'm so excited to be taking you through the self-love journey with me. Very excited to have a special guest with me today, Jennifer Ettinger. We met many, many years ago through a mutual friend, Leanne Jacobs, and we've stayed connected thanks to social media. And it's fun because I've seen you you've had so many different parts of your career that you've explored. You've grown your brand, you've grown your business. And what really is exciting to me right now is you just created something brand new that is totally aligned with everything that I was looking for. And you're actually the first person I connected with to say, can we have a talk? Because I feel like we're so excited and aligned. But for everybody else who has no idea who you are, and I mean, I know you're a little bit famous, so tell us a little bit about, who you are, how you got here today, and just sort of give us an intro.
Sure. So thank you first for having me, Julie. I love that we've been reconnected. The power of social media, it has so many benefits to it. My name is Jennifer Ettinger. I'm the founder of Fit Your Style, which is a health and lifestyle company. I just turned 16 years old in my business,
Yay.
Which I'm very proud of. It started off, Julie, because I was bedridden many years ago with chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia. Holistic healing changed my life. I became a certified personal trainer and merged it with my undergrad in fashion styling. My love for helping women find their bodies and believe and heal within their bodies. And I created a program called Find Your Inner Goddess, which I was a former pear shape that was designed by a man, by the way. Those pears and and I said, let's all be goddesses. I don't want to be known as a pear. And I was a pear shape before J-Lo made it popular at fashion school in New York City. Trauma.
Yeah.
So I had to reframe my thinking. I created something called Find Your Inner Goddess, which was goddess shapes. You're defined by your goddess shapes and how to love your shape, how to work out for your shape, beauty boosting foods, affirmation. And I was on my way to California and I posted Pink Dreams, which is something I believe in, and we can talk about that another time. It's my philosophy towards life. Who do I want to meet? And long story short, it was someone in Hollywood, and they said, come have a tour. I wound up getting a tour at Insider Television, which was the sister to Entertainment Tonight. And they kept asking me all these questions, Julie, because in between I had written a book about Find Your Inner Goddess. And by the end of the tour, they're like, we want you tomorrow to come back on as a health commentator for the show. And I said, I can't. I have a conference. They're come Monday. So I went Monday. I did my first commentary. They invited me back 4 weeks later to become part of something called the Twitter Roddy, which was social media corresponding. So what you see a television host do, I do online. And I was able to merge my love of Fit Your Style, my goddess belief system into the entertainment world, because I only respond to things how I see them through my lens.
Oh my gosh. I'm still just listening to what your story, because again, I see little bits and pieces of your story, but I don't actually know the whole entire thing.
No agent, no management. I never went to school for media in my life. It's just all been fluid.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. And tell me a little bit about your brand, because you just shared with us on social what your brand actually means. What does Fit Your Style mean? So I'd love for you to tell us about that.
Sure. So Fit Your Style, again, is very close to me. If I create something, it's simply because it stems from my own experiences. Mm-hmm. So FIT stands for FIT, which is a fashion school in New York City. That's where I went for my undergrad and my graduate work. And it also stands for fitness, because fitness changed my life along with holistic practices. So FIT. Your is you, that your unique parts of you make you beautiful. Do you hear that? They make you beautiful. Perfection doesn't exist. It's our own inner beauty that we exude through how we have been defined and created. So to learn to love every curve, to love the cellulite, which is easier said than done, to love the beauty marks, to love the wrinkles, the smile lines, embrace it. And when you do, you have such freedom around your definition of beauty. And then style is my undergrad, which is in display and exhibit design from FIT. which was think of doing windows displays. And also I was for years in fashion with fashion mannequin dressing, and created a line of jewelry for style across Canada for Shoppers Drug Mart. So that's where, and fun fact, Julie, most people don't know, I've lived in Canada twice.
Yeah, I'm like, we need to talk a little bit about your geography, your family. You're kind of like, again, oh, do you live in the States? Do you live in Canada? Tell me more.
Yeah, so that's Fit Your Style in a nutshell. I am American born. I was born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio, and spent all my summers in New York City. My father is an international artist. So by the time I was 12, I knew I wanted to attend Fashion Institute of Technology for visual merchandising. Like, I was very clear. And what was so cool is, not to get off topic, but there was such a blessing in how my life was led. I never went to Disney with family. My grandfather would have a pen and paper, and he would take me around the streets of New York City to certain stores and teach me about visual. He was an entrepreneur. Visual merchandising and displays, and why they were effective and how they worked, and why we had to go see this store, and then take me to this museum to see this exhibit. So my life was exposed to the arts and design at a very young age. Then I married a Canadian. That's why I'm in Toronto, and this is my second time now. So this time around, it's been 11 years, and I live in a little suburb called Aurora, north of Toronto.
So that's fun, because I was like, again, I'm like, is she Canadian? Is she American? Either way, we love you, so it doesn't matter.
I feel like both.
Yeah, I think you're both at this point, and because you do some correspondence, you're here for Canada, you're here for the U.S., you connect with everybody, and also I just, you said we went off topic with your story about your grandfather, but I actually think that's so important. I homeschool my daughter; she's 9, and I think about things like that, is like those kind of, like, you had these formative moments that had nothing to do with school, that your grandfather shared his passion, his knowledge with you, and it planted a seed that created a passion in you. And then, but what I love even more about your story is you took that passion, you did one thing with it, and then something else lit your passion, and actually came out of really a trauma, right? You being sick, and you shifted, and you didn't say, well, this is what I'm doing, this is what I went to school with, I have to stick with it forever. You had the courage to say, okay, my health is like, something's not working here, and I could suffer for the rest of my days, which a lot of people do. And I think that actually all comes back to the whole self-love thing, right? Is like, well, maybe I'm meant to suffer. And I don't mean that in a degenerative way, but like sometimes we just feel like, well, frig, like I just, maybe I am just meant to suffer. And you went the other way. You were like, I don't want to live like this, and I'm going to shift. And then you brought it all full circle. So it's actually a really important part of your story. I'm so glad you shared it. So that's wonderful.
I want to share something that's, if I can, because this is really important, because I think the reason why I'm so blessed that people resonate with me is that I walk the walk and I talk the talk. I've earned the stripes, I've been told, from the challenges of health. And I went from New York City, working with beautiful designers, living this amazing, incredible life, to being ill, staring at ceiling tiles, and bedridden for over a year on disability checks. I can't even tell you how distinctively different my life had become. And I would call my husband, Julie, and I'd say, I took a shower today, honey. And I couldn't look at myself in the mirror, Julie, because I was bloated and I was medicated, and I would look and I literally would just do this. Like, I would just be like, I can't, because I don't know who that is. Right? I just don't get that. So my defining moment, if this helps anyone with their own self-care, was actually watching Oprah. And I rarely watch Oprah anymore because I OD'd on Oprah when I was sick. Don't tell Oprah. I do love her.
Okay, we can listen to her podcast now. Continue.
Thank you. And Billy Blanks was on. This is going way back with Ty Bo.
Ty Bo, yeah.
And he changed my life because he was a light being. He wanted to touch people. And I was lying in bed going, you know what? I have a path. And so I hope this helps your friends and the people who watch this, that we are given a path. And I had to go mind over matter. And I had to push my body from a comfort zone. And 2 minutes a day, I started working out. That's it. That's all I could afford to do. And it changed my life because the rest fell into place.
That's amazing. I really think it's so powerful because chronic pain, chronic degenerative disease, like these are epidemics. So these are all like super important little messages, little nuggets that people are going to hear or watch and they're going to catch. And you might inspire, even if we inspire one or two people to just do that, to just do the 1 minute a day or whatever it is to shift the direction of their life. Now, when I came across your post about what you've been up to, I have been in a position where, so for the past almost 2 years ago now, I moved from one side of Canada to the other, from the Toronto area to the Vancouver area. And then 10 months after that first move, I moved over to Vancouver Island. So I live on an island.
Oh, it's so exciting.
It is, actually it is. I live in one of the absolute most beautiful places in the world. If you're following me on social, you know that I post sunrises and sunsets.
Photos are outstanding. If I can interject for a moment, they're beautiful. What a gift.
It really, and honestly it is. And that actually, like, for when I first moved here, that was part of my self-care routine because the stress was so much. I'm actually only able to see now, about after being here about a year, that the stress of the move and all the trauma we went through that kind of led to us moving here, that going to the sunrise every day, and it was every day when I first moved here, was partly because yes, it's stunning and beautiful, but also because it became a self-care ritual that I needed to survive. But what I've been struggling the most is like, so I'm 43 now, and I have been in weight loss and healthy lifestyle and all these things for over a decade. And of course, now we're kind of finding out that a lot of what we've been told about weight loss in the whole industry is actually not true and not correct. And I started struggling. And you posted something about stress weight, and I was like, ding, 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 ding. This is what must be happening with my body because I don't understand. All the things that I used to be able to do didn't work. So I'm like, I need to shift what I'm doing. I need to look at this from a different angle. And literally you popped into my feed with what you're doing. So I'll stop talking because I want to hear about what you've been doing and how this all came together.
So I'm going to start with how it came together. And I thank you for sharing your story and your truth, because I was struggling as a trainer. I've been a certified personal trainer. I've worked North America as a speaker for the last 16 years. And over the last 6 years, I've been heavily involved in social media, working as a correspondent. And when I hit 40, I'm 51, but when I hit 40, all of a sudden my PR agencies were like, you're 40 now. You're 40 now. And I'm like, yeah. And I was starting to be defined by my age in the fitness industry. Yeah, I really want to talk about this more at another time, because I was like, wow, okay. And, I wasn't fitting the profile anymore because my body was changing. I'm thinking, yeah, but I finally have money to spend now. Like, don't you want people who have money to spend? But it was a really good learning lesson. And because of that, Julie, I started to get heavily involved in my media. And I was always training my clients, but I wasn't projecting as much of the health and wellness because I was being discarded from the industry in terms of my worth as a woman in fitness and health.
Wow.
And as I delved into the media, which has been an incredible experience, everything, I'm so incredibly just full of gratitude. But what's important to know, that I hope, again, this helps people, was I started to live on the outside. I started to lose. We talked about, I forgot to take my vitamins and things like that. Yeah. I lost my inside. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I was on the outskirts. Yeah. I wasn't doing my meditation. I wasn't working out on a regular basis. I was training my clients, but I wasn't taking care of myself. So how this new program came to be, it was right after working the Oscars this year. I've had the privilege of working them for the last 6 seasons. I wound up in the emergency room. And I was covered in hives and my face blew up. I didn't look human. Wow. I had no idea what was going on. I thought I had bed bugs from Hollywood. Oh my. So Julie, I went to the doctor and I went, doctor, I got fast tracked through the hospital. My husband's in a state of panic. And I said, doctor, do I have bed bugs? And he starts to laugh and he goes, you have stress. Wow.
So
That did
you
it.
literally had a physical reaction to stress.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Because of my autoimmune disorders that I have a history
Right.
of them. My body got triggered and I wasn't listening. I started getting like always swollen eyes when I would fly. And then this was the dam that broke. And that was
Wow.
at that moment I said, you know what? I have learned to listen to my body. I have learned that if I don't listen, so they're going to teach me a lesson. And I said, okay, it's time to realign things once again in my life. So that's how I was due for my second or for my certification renewal with American Council of Exercise,
Yep.
which is a large nonprofit for fitness and well-being. So me being the type A, I took 2 years of classes in 3 months.
Okay.
I had to get to my renewal date. I waited too long. Why? Because I was living on the outside, right?
Right.
I had
Okay.
2 years to take these
Yes.
classes.
But you just, okay.
It changed my life, Julie.
Wow.
The classes and the updated research and things that I was reading, because I could not lose weight to save my life. Once I hit 40, I couldn't lose it. It didn't matter what I was doing. Even before I lost the inside, I could work out and nothing would shift. And I felt like a failure, and I felt like embarrassed actually as a trainer, that how could I dare keep my head up high and help other people when I couldn't help myself, when I was conscious of it.
Yeah.
So the long story short is I started to take classes and research of holistic well-being has always been my preferred method because of what I went through in the past. I do believe there's a place for both to come together with traditional medicine and lifestyle medicine. Lifestyle medicine really works well for me.
Yeah.
And I retained a homeopathic doctor. I researched everything this summer and took all these bajillion, if that's a word, classes on holistic well-being and inner size and outer size and slowing your breath and your words down, because I tend to go super fast, and being mindful in eating. And I went, I think I figured something out here. So I started to beta test myself.
Yeah.
I worked with the homeopathic doctor. I did have Reiki treatments. That's a very personal choice. It's an energy healing for those who may be open or not, my preference. And the weight, which was not because I did not lead with weight. I led with peace, right?
Yep.
It came off. Crazy. I never believed in emotional weight gain.
But it's real.
Yes.
It's like, I'm listening to you. I'm like, yes. I'm like nodding. For those who are listening to the audio, like I'm just nodding through this whole thing because it so resonates with, especially I'm the same. I have been in this profession for like almost 14 years. I have a program that I've been doing for 8 years that I helped design that has always worked for me. And the last 2 years that I've done it, it has not worked in the same way anymore. And I'm like, and I've also lived through the most stressful time in my life. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, something isn't working anymore. Mm-hmm. I started dabbling, like you mentioned, mindful eating. I started looking into that a little bit more. So tell me, so like, what is it that, like, is it a program that your clients work with you one-on-one? Is it a group thing? Tell us a little bit about how it works. We're going to share, all the links will be shared and everything. And this isn't about, we don't need to sign up for anybody's program or do anything, but we're here because people just don't even know that this is a possibility, and they're struggling like me, and they just want to know, like, hey, someone else has actually figured out a way that we can move forward. And I love what you said. I wasn't focusing on the weight loss. I was focusing on peace.
Yes.
That's the takeaway, right? I wasn't focusing on weight loss. I was focusing on peace.
It was. And I looked at different facets of my life. So I had to address and focus on stress, my food intake, the type of exercise I was doing. Was it jarring? Was it just because I was exercising to like make a difference? Or was I, being in tune with my body, relationships, career, sleep? Mm-hmm. So when I'm working with clients now, we have the wheel of life, and we're actually going through all the different facets and prioritizing what's important to them as their needs for shift immediately. Meaning, what I mean by that is just putting it in a list, not immediately. Like, it's not going to happen overnight.
Right. But where is the fire burning?
Correct.
Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying that.
That's
And then from there, actually the current research says that group exercise is now, there's huge benefits for group exercise, and that they're seeing a percentage in terms of shifting of body confidence in group exercise versus one-on-one. So I did start off as a group exercise opportunity, but the irony of my community, they all want one-on-one right now, and virtual. So that's how I'm going with the flow. And if we come up with a small group, and we'll do it again. I had group classes in the past. We will do it again. But for whatever reason, it's supposed to be one-on-one right now. So we address all of that, macronutrients, the importance of macronutrients. We also discuss trend diets, and from a science perspective, why they might be short-term successful, but then they aren't.
So crazy, because I know we're getting a little bit deep into the weeds, but my fascination right now is about the microbiome, because there's so much we actually don't know about the microbiome, but there's a huge link between weight gain and the inability to lose weight that's linked to our microbiome, which actually our microbiome is affected by our hormones as well, which are affected by our stress. So, which is affected by our sleep, which is so it's such a beautiful, what I love is you mentioned all these areas, and it's like, we can't just take them all on their own. And what really struck me about what you shared is that you take the list and you just created it as a priority, because we know we can't address everything at the same time, but you make it a priority for the individual.
Yes.
So my priority is not going to be the same as someone else. So that's so important. I'm getting so many great nuggets. I kind of wish I was taking notes on our own interview. I'll have to go back.
Always talk another time. No worries.
And I'll go, you know, what's great is I'm recording this to share, and I can listen to it first and foremost for me and get the ideas. So if you just take your work back to self-love and what your new program that you've put together, what you've personally done for you, where does self-love fit into that whole program journey?
I think it's the foundation of the entire program, to be honest with you, because it took that jarring of being in the emergency room for me to listen and say, okay, I'm loving everything I'm doing. I'm loving everybody around me, but I'm obviously not loving myself enough to take care of myself. And so anything that I've ever brought to Fit Your Style has always been because of my own personal experiences. I've never created something for people that I've never gone through myself.
Yes.
Right? You get that?
Yeah,
so it was just like, okay, self, you need to make major, scary changes that will probably affect your ego. But I'm just being flat out honest. We still, even if I'm sensitive about my ego, we still have ego. We're human beings. And I said, okay, I've got to I wouldn't say I was about to say slow it down. It's not the right word. I had to realign my priorities.
Okay. Yeah.
So today I was even running late for a meeting, and I rarely run late. And I said, is there any way we can push it 15 minutes? And thankfully she said, fine. And the reason why, I wasn't done with my workout yet.
So priority.
Don't tell her.
Well, but there's a different, you know, what's really interesting is I worry about being late. And now I'm like, if I'm running late because I was finishing up something else or whatever, because it's pretty rare.
Yes, me too.
As long as I'm letting the person know, I actually trying to let that go, because that's stress that's unnecessary. Because generally, for the few times that I am late, it's like, it wasn't a big deal, but I made it into a big deal. Yes. And you remember you talked about each person having their journey. I trust that, like, I meant to arrive at exactly the right time.
Yes.
Because how many times
pardon me for interrupting. You just said that you make it a big deal. And when you make it a big deal, what happens?
It becomes a big deal.
And stress.
Yeah.
Triggers in your body.
Your body's like, it's a big deal.
We're living in fight or flight.
Yeah.
We wonder why we can't see a shift in our body.
I could talk to you forever. This is the thing. But I made sure that these are going to be good bite-size under 30 minutes. So what I want to hear from you now is, if those who are watching or listening, if they could make one small shift or change after, hearing from you, what would you suggest? Oh, right. Cheers.
Cheers.
Ooh, I like
Water.
that. Mine's
It's
pink.
water.
I have a pink lid.
Water. Yay. Love it. Pink dreams. Water.
Okay.
Our bodies are made up of over 70% of water. It has so many benefits. We need it to survive. It offers mental clarity. We need clarity so we can make the right choices for ourselves. It helps our bodies in so many different capacities. I won't get scientific right now. Just start drinking water. And if you can, if I can make it step 1.5, get a reusable bottle.
Yes.
And let's help change this planet from where we're at. And you are a rock star goddess by doing those two things.
Amazing. Amazing. Now, how do we connect with you? Where do we find you online? I'm going to post all that stuff, but in case we're listening or we're just watching, we want to quickly find you. Where do we find you?
www.jenniferettinger.com. You can
How do we
find
spell your last name if we're listening?
Yes, Ettinger, jenniferettinger.com.
Okay, great. And you're on the Insta and Facebook, all with your
Fit
name.
Your Style.
So that's what I was curious. Okay, so your brand, so it's easy to find. Fit Your Style.
Yes.
We can find you as your brand. That's easy to remember and easy to spell if we can't find your full
name.
But well, like I said, everything will be posted in, with the links. I just, if you're listening, I have my hands over my heart just to say thank you, thank you, thank you. I loved our time together. I love that we're so aligned at this time in our lives. And I just thank you so much for giving of yourself to us today.
Thank you so much for having me. And Julie, you've got this. So just enjoy the journey and the shift is going to happen. And I'm here.
Yeah, I'm excited. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye.